Coming up, is this 50 Phantoms upgrade worth the price tag? Let's find out.
You know what you're gonna be? Blasted.
Hello and welcome back to Automatic Reviews. I'm Mark. Before we get to this week's review of the Spinnaker 50 Phantoms bracelet, I just want to let you know that I'm currently working on a review of a budget chronograph for you guys, and you're going to love that one. This week, though, is a quick one, which is good timing all around. I just received my pre-order of the 50 Phantoms bracelet, and I'm also getting over a cold, as I'm sure you can tell. So it's better if I keep it simple this week, guys. My voice is barely hanging in there, so. Before I continue, though, I just want to mention that my goal around here is to review the best watches at all price ranges, and if that sounds good to you, consider hitting that subscribe button, and while you're at it, that little notification bell too. All right, this week's video wasn't sponsored, but even if it was, I'll always tell you what I really think. Now let's take a look at this bracelet. This is the 50 Phantoms. The basic specs are as follows: 40 millimeters across, 12.1 millimeters thick, including the box crystal, 47 millimeters lug to lug, and a lug width of 20 millimeters. It features a Miyota 9039 movement and has 150 meters of water resistance. The retail price on this during the drop last October and the subsequent second chance pre-order was about 620 Canadian or about 445 US. This watch is a really cool piece designed in collaboration between Seconde Seconde, the mad genius of the watch community, and Spinnaker watches. It's definitely a design that brings to mind Halloween, but I wear mine throughout the year. If you're not familiar with it already, basically it's a 50 Fathoms homage made for Halloween, and therefore you have its name, the 50 Phantoms. I've been tempted to review this watch ever since I got it, and actually the 2023 version as well. But it seems less useful to review these watches because by the time I actually get them, you can no longer order them. This is where it would help to get advanced access to pre-release demo models. Anyway, long story short, it's a cool watch, and if you want to see a full review, let me know in the comments. It's actually a really gorgeous piece full of clever Easter eggs and created to quite a high standard. I love Seconde Seconde, and his Spinnaker collabs have been a wonderful entry point into his work. If you have interest in what he creates, I think this is a great place to start. Okay, strap-wise, first things first, let's take a look at the straps that come with this watch. In the original box, you received two straps, one in purple leather and the other in purple rubber. Here's a look at the leather strap on my flat profile 7-inch wrist. The things I like about the leather strap are the quick release spring bars and that deep, rich shade of purple. It's classy and yet still quirky. I really love the look it achieves. The things I don't like about the leather strap. I generally prefer how leather looks over how it wears, especially because my arms sweat and I worry about ruining the strap. This is even more pronounced here because this was a special purple strap that came with the watch and I really don't want to mess it up. Finally, at the end of the day, this is still a dive watch design, and making leather work on a diver is always a bit dicey. Leather and water are not a match. Despite that most people won't even swim with this watch, it does still stand out as a thematic mismatch. Here's a look at the other strap that ships with this watch. This one is far more diver friendly. It's a purple rubber strap. What I like about this strap: it also features quick release spring bars, that's a plus. It's durable and it looks nice. There's no sweat damage to worry about. I also love the artistic touch of adding the little ghost eyes on the keeper. As far as what I didn't like, it's been a bit stiff and it's hard to get it to conform to my wrist even after a fair amount of wear. The purple color isn't as nice as the one found on the leather strap, and that's a bit of a minus. Also, finally, a bit of a thematic aesthetic mismatch of its own. While rubber matches a diver perfectly well, the overall style of this band is a bit more sporty than it ought to be in my opinion. It's a bit like a goth wearing running shoes. I like it, but I don't love it. Moving on to the bracelet. The cost of this bracelet is $80 US, which is about 111 Canadian, so not cheap. The specific model is the Fleuss 40 Automatic Bracelet, and it should fit all 40mm watches in the Fleuss series, not just the Seconde Seconde specific ones. As I mentioned, I pre-ordered this last fall and it arrived this week, but it's currently available for immediate purchase on Spinnaker's website. Once again, we've got quick change spring bars, so that's a massive plus. The classic bracelet look is something which I favor, so that's automatic points for me. The finishing on the bracelet goes part of the way to justifying the cost. Very smooth and free of hot spots. The clasp doesn't fare as well. We'll get to that in a second. Overall, I think Beads of Rice was a fun choice, and the mix of brushing and polishing works even better here than on an oyster with polished centerlings, due to the way that the light hits the polished surfaces. For me, it's also just super comfortable. Bracelets just do it for me. You can sweat all you want, they're durable and long wearing. I love that about them. First and foremost, being steel and classy looking, the bracelet does tone down the overall craziness of this watch. Some will love it for that precise reason, and to be honest, I get the logic, but I do think there's something to be said for a bold purple watch on a matching strap. It's a statement. This clasp has no on-the-fly micro adjustment, and that's a pretty big negative for me. Speaking of this clasp, overall it stands out as being less than ideal. It feels a bit cheap, and the gap between the bracelet and the clasp seems a bit excessive. If this clasp was anywhere near as good as this bracelet, I think this would have been a great overall package. Don't get me wrong, it's not a terrible clasp, it's just quite underwhelming. For the price you pay for this bracelet, you can buy an entire pretty nice watch on AliExpress, so I think if they had spent a few more dollars on the clasp, they would have really upped their game quite a bit, and I think this bracelet would have been a slam dunk. Okay, so if you gotta have a bracelet, this is the only OEM option, so this is the one you've gotta have. You could do worse. It's imperfect and expensive, but it gets more right than wrong. Just be aware the watch does look a little more generic with it on. Overall, I would say that if you're a bracelet person like me, this is ultimately worth the pretty large price tag because it really enhances wearability as far as I'm concerned. I will wear the watch more often now that I own this bracelet, so I do think that's a pretty big endorsement. Alright guys, so if you want to see a full review of this watch, remember to let me know in the comments. But for now, what about this bracelet? Do you have one? Do you want one? Do you think it's worth the price? If not, which strap is best in your opinion? One of the ones that came with it or something else altogether? I want to hear about it. Alright, that's it. That's all. Be sure to check the description for any relevant links, and I'm really sorry about my voice. Hopefully it'll be better by next week. Till next time, bye-bye.